The fluorescent lights in Multnomah County Courthouse flickered overhead. Cold, sterile, unforgiving. A 7-year-old boy stood at the witness stand, small hands gripping the wooden rail, his knuckles white, his breathing shallow. Ethan Bennett looked impossibly young in his borrowed suit jacket, too big across the shoulders, sleeves covering half his hands, but his eyes carried something ancient, something broken and rebuilt. Judge Martinez leaned forward. Her silver hair caught the light, her voice gentle but firm. "Ethan, I need you to tell the court. Is Sophie your sister?" The boy swallowed hard. His throat worked. Once. Twice. In the gallery, a man in an expensive charcoal suit sat forward. Marcus Sullivan, 52 years old, $87 billion to his name. None of it mattered now. His entire world balanced on the words of a child. "Ethan," the judge repeated, "answer the question." The boy's lips parted, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes, ma'am." The courtroom held its breath. "Sophie is my sister. Same father, different mothers." A woman in the third row screamed. Amanda Reynolds, blonde hair disheveled, mascara running. Her lawyer grabbed her arm, but she shook him off. "That's a lie! He's lying!" The gavel cracked like thunder. But Ethan didn't flinch. His eyes found Marcus, held steady, trust radiating from every atom of his small body. Marcus felt his chest split open. The boy continued, quiet, certain. "Sophie is my sister, and we belong together." The screen went black. White text appeared. 72 hours earlier, rain hammered the streets of Portland, Oregon. October rain, the kind that seeped into bones and reminded you winter was coming. Bella's Diner sat on the corner of Morrison and 3rd. Red vinyl booths, checkered floor, the smell of coffee and bacon grease that never quite left the walls. Marcus Sullivan stepped through the door, water droplets sliding off his $2,000 coat. Behind him, his driver Jackson held an umbrella over a small girl, Claire Sullivan, 6 years old. White cane in her left hand, her right hand tucked into her father's palm, born blind, eyes the color of morning fog. Seeing nothing, perceiving everything. "Daddy, it smells like cinnamon." Marcus smiled, the first real smile in days. "It does, sweetheart. They make fresh pies here." He guided her to a booth, their usual spot by the window. Not that Claire could see the view, but Marcus liked watching the rain. Something about the chaos calmed him. 2 years since Caroline died. 2 years of raising their daughter alone. 2 years of learning what mattered. Money didn't bring back the dead. Power didn't fill empty beds. But it could buy the best doctors, the best teachers, the best life possible for a blind 6-year-old girl. "Can I have the blueberry pie, Daddy?" "After lunch. Deal?" "Deal." Maria, the waitress, appeared, 50-something, kind eyes. She'd worked at Bella's for 20 years. "Hey there, Claire Bear. The usual?" Claire nodded. "Yes, please, Miss Maria. Grilled cheese and apple juice." "Coming right up, sweetheart." Marcus ordered coffee. Black, strong enough to strip paint. As Maria walked away, his attention snagged on movement in the corner booth. 2 children, alone. A boy, maybe 7. Clothes worn but clean. Dark hair that needed cutting. Eyes that tracked every person in the diner with the wariness of a prey animal. And beside him, a girl, younger, 6 at most. She sat perfectly still, her eyes unfocused, milky. The telltale sign Marcus knew too well. Another blind child. The boy was folding napkins into shapes, creating something from nothing, his hands quick and precise. The girl listened, her head tilted toward his whispers. Maria approached their booth, her voice professional but tired. "You kids ordering today?" The boy straightened, polite, almost formal. "Yes, ma'am. We're waiting for our uncle. He'll be here soon." The lie hung in the air, obvious as a neon sign. Maria sighed, set down 2 glasses of water, walked away without pressing. Marcus watched the boy relax by increments, shoulders dropping, breath releasing. The girl's hand found his, small fingers wrapping around bigger ones. "Ethan, I'm hungry." The boy's voice softened. "I know, Sophie. Soon. I promise." Something in Marcus's chest tightened, that protective tone, that burden of responsibility. He knew it well, lived it daily. Claire's hand touched his arm. "Daddy, who are you looking at?" Sometimes he forgot. His daughter couldn't see, but she could sense everything, the shift in his attention, the change in his breathing. "Just some kids, sweetheart. They're waiting for someone." "Are they alone?" trust children to cut through pretense. Yes, I think they are. Claire frowned, the expression so like her mother's. That's sad. Marcus couldn't argue. Maria returned with their food, grilled cheese cut into triangles, apple juice in a plastic cup with a straw, and a massive slice of chocolate cake. Claire perked up. But Daddy, you said after lunch. I changed my mind. Special occasion. What occasion? I don't need one to spoil my daughter. She grinned. Reached for the plate Maria guided to her hands. The cake was beautiful. 3 layers, dark chocolate frosting, and on top, crushed walnuts. Marcus was about to hand Claire a fork when movement exploded from the corner. The boy Ethan was running toward them. Fast, desperate. His voice cracked across the diner. Don't eat the cake! Every head turned. Marcus stood instinctively, protective, his body between Claire and the approaching child. But Ethan wasn't attacking. He skidded to a stop 3 feet away, breathing hard, eyes locked on the dessert. Please, don't let her eat it. Marcus kept his voice level. Why not? The boy pointed, his fingers shaking. Walnuts, on top. She's allergic, isn't she? The world tilted. Marcus stared at this stranger child, this homeless boy who couldn't possibly know. How did you know my daughter has a nut allergy? Ethan's eyes flicked to Claire, to her white cane resting against the booth, to her unfocused gaze. I didn't, but Sophie does. And when I saw the cake and saw she's blind like Sophie, I thought maybe... His voice trailed off, uncertainty creeping in. Claire's small voice filled the silence. You're right, I'm very allergic to walnuts. The boy sagged, relief flooding his features. Marcus felt something crack inside him. This child, this scared homeless child, had potentially saved his daughter's life. Thank you, he said, meaning it, every syllable weighted with gratitude. Ethan nodded, started to back away. Wait, the boy froze. Marcus gestured to the booth. Would you and your friend like to join us? There's plenty of food. Suspicion flickered across Ethan's face. The look of someone who'd learned trust was dangerous. Our uncle is coming. No, he isn't. The blunt words hung there. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't run. Claire spoke up. Please, I'd like to meet your friend. Is she really blind like me? And there it was, the thing that broke through walls, one child reaching for another. Ethan looked back at Sophie, still sitting in the corner booth, patient, waiting. He made a decision. Okay, but just for a little while. Marcus nodded. Just for a little while. Sophie Reynolds moved through the world by sound and touch and trust. When Ethan returned and took her hand, she stood without hesitation. Let him guide her across the unfamiliar diner, her free hand trailing along booth backs, counting steps. 12 steps, Ethan murmured. Then you'll feel the booth edge. Sophie's hand found the vinyl. She slid in beside Claire. Hi, Claire said. I'm Claire. I'm 6. I can't see either. Sophie's face lit up. You're like me? Exactly like you. And just like that, 2 children who'd never met became sisters. Marcus watched, fascinated, as Ethan helped Sophie orient herself, his hands gentle but efficient, placing her napkin, describing the table layout. Fork to your left, napkin under the fork, water glass at 2 o'clock. Not the language of a 7-year-old, the language of a professional. Maria appeared, eyebrows raised at the new arrangement. Marcus ordered without asking. Burgers, fries, milkshakes. More cake, this time walnut-free. As food arrived, he observed. Ethan cut Sophie's burger into manageable pieces, his movements practiced. Then he did something remarkable. Okay, Sophie. Meat at 12 o'clock, fries at 3, pickles at 9. Clock positions, the standard method for teaching blind individuals to navigate their plates. Marcus leaned forward. Who taught you that? Ethan looked up, wary again. My mom. Is she here? The boy's face shuddered. No, sir. Where is she? A long pause, then barely audible. She died 6 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days ago. The precise count gutted Marcus. This child was tallying his grief in days. I'm sorry, Marcus said, and meant it. Claire reached across the table, her hand finding Sophie's. My mommy died too, 2 years ago. It hurts, doesn't it? Sophie nodded, then remembered Claire couldn't see. Yes, it hurts a lot. The 2 girls held hands, united in loss. Marcus cleared his throat. Your mother? What was her name? Dr. Rachel Bennett. The title caught his attention. Doctor? Pride flickered in Ethan's eyes. She had a Ph.D. in educational psychology. She specialized in visual impairment education. Now it made sense. The clock method, the careful guidance. This boy had grown up watching a specialist teach blind children. She must have been remarkable. She was. Past tense. Absolute. Marcus wanted to ask more. How Ethan ended up here, where he was staying. But the boy's defensive posture warned against pushing. Instead, he watched as the children ate. Ethan maintaining vigilance even while hungry, eyes tracking the door, the windows, planning escape routes. A child who'd learned the world wasn't safe. Rain continued outside, the windows fogging with warmth. After they ate, Claire showed Sophie her braille books, tactile stories with raised images. Sophie's fingers traced the patterns. You can read these? Miss Peterson is teaching me. It's hard but fun. Ethan watched with an intensity that made Marcus's heart ache. What is it? Marcus asked quietly. The boy hesitated. Then, Sophie should be learning braille too. She's smart, really smart. But at the shelter, they don't have resources for blind kids. Shelter? Ethan's eyes widened. He'd said too much. Marcus kept his voice gentle. Ethan, how long have you been on your own? The boy's jaw clenched. We're fine. I didn't ask if you were fine. I asked how long. A standoff. Man and child, both stubborn. Finally, Ethan broke. 3 months since I found Sophie. Found her? At St. Vincent's shelter. She'd been there 3 days, alone, crying. No one knew how to help a blind kid. Marcus felt cold. Where was her mother? Gone. Just left her there and never came back. The casual cruelty of it, abandoning a blind 6-year-old. So you took her. Not a question, a statement of fact. Ethan lifted his chin, defiant. Someone had to. I know how to take care of blind people. My mom taught me everything. And there it was, a 7-year-old boy, orphaned and homeless, who'd taken responsibility for another abandoned child, because no one else would. Marcus looked at his daughter, safe, cared for, loved beyond measure. Then at Sophie, smiling as she touched Claire's hair, feeling the texture, learning through her fingers. Finally at Ethan, shoulders squared, ready to run if needed, but willing to stay for Sophie's sake. The rain intensified, sheets of water obscuring the street. Marcus made a decision. It's pouring out there. Would you two like to come home with us tonight? Just for a hot shower and a proper bed. No obligations. Suspicion flared immediately. Why would you do that? Marcus glanced at Claire, laughing with Sophie, animated in a way he hadn't seen since Caroline died. Because my daughter hasn't smiled this much in 2 years. Ethan studied him, looking for the trap, the angle, the danger. We can leave anytime we want? Anytime. My driver can take you wherever you say. The boy considered, looked at Sophie, happy, fed, warm. Just for tonight, Ethan said. For Sophie. She needs a bath. Marcus nodded. Just for tonight. But as they prepared to leave, he noticed Ethan pocket 2 dinner rolls, wrapped in napkins, hidden in his jacket. The gesture of someone who'd learned nothing was certain. Marcus said nothing. Let the boy have his small security. Outside, Jackson held the umbrella. The Bentley gleamed at the curb. Ethan's eyes widened, just for a moment. Then the mask slid back into place. As they drove through Portland's rain-soaked streets, Marcus caught Ethan's reflection in the window. The boy was memorizing the route, counting turns, preparing for the moment he'd need to run, always planning escape. Marcus's chest tightened. Something had started today. In a diner over chocolate cake and walnut warnings, something that would change all their lives. He just didn't know how much. Sullivan Estate sprawled across 5 acres in Portland's West Hills. Modernist architecture, glass and cedar, designed to emerge organically from the forested landscape. As the Bentley crunched up the gravel drive, Marcus watched Ethan's face in the rearview mirror. The boy maintained his poker face, but his eyes widened fractionally, calculating, assessing, memorizing. We're home, Marcus announced, the ritual phrase he used with Claire, helping her orient. Sophie perked up. Are there stairs? Before anyone could answer, Ethan spoke. 12 wide steps, leading to the front door, handrail on the right. Marcus turned in his seat. How did you know that? I counted while we drove up. The kid had been memorizing the grounds even while appearing to look elsewhere. Remarkable. They stepped into the foyer. Soaring ceilings, warm lighting, the faint scent of cedar and lemon polish. Miss Peterson emerged from the living room. Janet Peterson, 62 years old, Claire's mobility instructor for the past year. Patient, skilled, irreplaceable. Her eyebrows rose at the sight of the two additional children. Miss Peterson, this is Ethan and Sophie. They'll be staying with us tonight. To her credit, Janet didn't bat an eye. Welcome, would you like a tour? Sophie nodded eagerly, but Ethan remained tense, his hand finding Sophie's, protective. Sophie needs to learn the layout, he said carefully. Janet smiled. Of course, let's start with the main floor. What followed was a masterclass in orientation training. Ethan translated the house into terms Sophie could understand, his hands guiding hers, his voice steady and clear. 10 steps from the couch to the kitchen entrance, 3 steps down to the sunken living room. Watch for the edge, handrail on the right for the main staircase. He was creating a mental map, the same way Marcus had spent months doing for Claire after Caroline's death. But Ethan was 7, and doing it instinctively. Janet caught Marcus's eye, mouthed 2 words, professional training. Marcus nodded. This boy hadn't just watched his mother work. He'd been taught, deliberately, systematically. They continued the tour, Ethan memorizing exits, windows, phone locations, anything useful for escape. A child who trusted nothing. Finally, Janet showed them to the guest wing, 2 adjoining bedrooms, each with its own bathroom. For Ethan and Sophie, it might as well have been the Ritz. Sophie touched the bed, the duvet, her fingers exploring. It's so soft, she whispered. Ethan stood rigid, waiting for the catch. Marcus knelt to his level. There are fresh towels in the bathroom, clean clothes on the bed. Dinner will be at 6. You're safe here. The boy's jaw worked, like he wanted to believe but couldn't quite manage it. Thank you, sir. Sir, formal, keeping distance. Marcus left them, walked downstairs to his office, called his lawyer, Jonathan Hayes, 48 years old, sharp as a scalpel, loyal as a bloodhound. Jonathan, I need deep background on someone. Dr. Rachel Bennett, worked in Seattle, visual impairment specialist. Died about 6 months ago. What's this about? I'll explain later. How fast can you get me information? 48 hours. Make it 24. After hanging up, Marcus sat in the quiet, rain tapping the windows. His phone buzzed. Catherine, his younger sister, calling from New York. Robbie, it's almost midnight there. Are you still working? Actually, I've had an unusual day, he told her. About the diner, the warning, the 2 homeless children now sleeping upstairs. Catherine's voice went sharp. You brought 2 homeless children into your house? Have you lost your mind? One of them saved Claire's life. You don't know that. He spotted walnuts on a cake from across the room, knew immediately it was dangerous, ran over to warn us. A pause, then quieter. That's remarkable. The boy, Ethan, his mother was a visual impairment specialist. He knows how to care for Sophie better than most adults. And Sophie? Abandoned at a shelter 3 months ago, 6 years old, blind. Ethan took her with him rather than let them institutionalize her. Catherine was silent for a long moment. This isn't about Caroline, is it? Or Claire's blindness? You can't save everyone, Robbie. The words hit hard because they were partly true. I'm not trying to save everyone, Marcus said. Tired. Just these 2, for now. After the call ended, he checked on the children. Claire was asleep in her room, peaceful, her white cane within reach. Sophie was also asleep, curled small in the massive bed, a smile on her face even in dreams. But Ethan's bed was empty. Marcus found him sitting outside Sophie's door, back against the wall, knees drawn to his chest. Ethan, what are you doing? The boy looked up, no apology in his eyes. Sophie gets scared in new places. If she wakes up and calls for me, I need to hear her. Marcus sat down beside him, the expensive carpet suddenly irrelevant. You know, we have an intercom system. We could connect your rooms. Ethan considered this. What if it breaks? Then you'll hear her the old-fashioned way. But you need sleep too, Ethan. You can't take care of Sophie if you're exhausted. The boy's shoulders slumped, just slightly, the weight visible. My mom used to say that. She called it the oxygen mask principle. Put on your own first, then help others. Your mother sounds like she was very wise. She was. They sat in silence, rain drumming the roof. Finally, Ethan spoke, voice small. Do you really mean it, that we can leave any time? I really mean it. Even in the middle of the night? Even then, though I'd appreciate if you woke me first, so I can make sure you have a safe ride. Ethan studied him, This strange billionaire who'd invited them home, fed them, offered shelter without asking for anything. It didn't compute. In the boy's experience, adults always wanted something. Why are you doing this? Marcus thought carefully. 2 years ago, my wife died. Pancreatic cancer. Fast. Brutal. She was gone in 4 months. Ethan nodded, understanding loss. After she died, I didn't know how to be a father alone, especially to a blind daughter. I had all the money in the world, and none of it helped. He paused, remembering those dark months. People kept telling me I was lucky, that I could hire the best help, buy the best equipment, and they were right. But money doesn't teach you how to help your daughter navigate a world she can't see. Money doesn't fill the hole your wife left. Ethan was listening, really listening. So I learned, from specialists like Miss Peterson, from Claire herself, and slowly we found our way. Marcus looked at this small boy, carrying burdens no child should bear. When I saw you with Sophie today, the way you care for her, guide her, protect her, I recognized something. What? Love. Real love. The kind that acts without counting cost. Ethan's eyes shimmered. You're 7 years old, Ethan. You should be playing, going to school, being a kid. Instead, you're raising another child, alone, on the streets. A tear escaped. Just one. The boy scrubbed it away angrily. Someone had to. No one else would. I know. And that makes you extraordinary. But you don't have to do it alone anymore. The words hung between them. Promise and threat all at once. Ethan stood abruptly. I should sleep. Marcus stood too. There's one more thing. The boy tensed. Tomorrow, I'd like to have a doctor look at both of you, just to make sure you're healthy after 3 months on the streets. Nothing invasive, just a checkup. Suspicion flared. Why? Because I care. And because if Sophie is going to stay here, even temporarily, I need to know if she needs any medical attention. It was reasonable, logical. Ethan nodded slowly. Okay, but I stay with Sophie during the exam. Of course, the boy walked to his room, paused at the door. Mr. Sullivan? Yes? Thank you for the cake and everything. Then he was gone. Door closing softly, Marcus stood in the hallway, the house quiet around him. He'd started something today, opened a door that couldn't be closed. 2 children, homeless, traumatized, bonded by loss and necessity, and now temporarily his responsibility. He walked to his own room, sat on the edge of the bed he'd shared with Caroline, her picture on the nightstand, smiling, alive, whole. What am I doing, Care? He whispered to the empty room. No answer came. Never did. But somehow he thought she'd approve. Caroline had always believed in helping people, in using their wealth for good. She would have loved these kids. Marcus lay down, sleep elusive. He walked to his own room, sat on the edge of the bed he'd shared with Caroline, her picture on the nightstand, smiling, alive, whole. His phone buzzed again. Catherine, a text this time. Found Amanda Reynolds. But Robbie, there's something. Another text. She has a boyfriend, Kevin Moore, 38. Records not clean. Marcus's stomach tightened. He typed back. How not clean? Fraud, twice. Send full report tomorrow. Send everything. He stared at the phone. Something cold settled in his chest. Tomorrow would bring questions, answers, decisions, and maybe complications he hadn't anticipated. But tonight, 3 children slept under his roof, federal, safe, warm. For now, that was enough. Morning arrived with weak October sunlight. The rain had stopped, leaving everything washed clean. Marcus was in the kitchen by 7, coffee brewing, the familiar ritual grounding him. Ethan appeared at 7:30, hair damp from a shower, wearing clothes Marcus's housekeeper had found, too large but clean. The boy hesitated in the doorway. Good morning, Marcus said, casual, normal. Hungry? Yes, sir. Mrs. Collins makes excellent pancakes. As if summoned, the housekeeper appeared. Ellen Collins, 60 years old, warm smile. She'd worked for the Sullivans for 15 years. She took one look at Ethan and her eyes softened. Well now, what would you like for breakfast? Young man. Ethan's politeness was automatic. Anything is fine, ma'am, thank you. How about pancakes, eggs, and bacon? The boy's stomach growled audibly. He flushed. Ellen laughed, kind, not mocking. Pancakes it is. As she worked, Marcus asked carefully, Where's Sophie? Still sleeping. She usually wakes around 8. The casual knowledge. This boy knew his companion's rhythms better than most parents knew their own children. They sat in companionable silence. Marcus reading the financial news on his tablet. Ethan watching everything with wary eyes. When the food came, the boy ate carefully. Small bites, good manners, despite obvious hunger. Claire appeared at 8:15, Miss Peterson guiding her. "Daddy, is Ethan still here?" Relief in her voice, like she'd feared he'd vanish. "Still here, kiddo," Marcus said. Claire beamed, felt her way to the table. "Can Sophie and I play after breakfast?" "If Ethan says it's okay." Both looked at the boy, waiting, the weight of being the decision maker. The parent, at 7 years old. "Sophie would like that," Ethan said softly. After breakfast, Dr. Harrison arrived. Thomas Harrison, 65. Marcus's personal physician for 20 years. Discreet, thorough, kind. Marcus had explained the situation, asked for gentleness. Tom examined Sophie first, Ethan at her side, holding her hand. The exam was careful, non-invasive, just vital signs. Basic health assessment. When Tom checked Sophie's eyes, he went very still. "Mr. Sullivan, could I speak with you privately?" They stepped into the hall. Tom's face was grave. "That little girl has congenital cataracts, both eyes, severe." Marcus's stomach dropped. Meaning? Meaning she wasn't born completely blind. The cataracts developed and progressed, untreated. "Can anything be done?" Tom chose his words carefully. "If surgery is performed within 90 days of now, there's a 60 to 70% chance of restoring significant vision. Maybe 60% of normal sight." The room spun. "And after 90 days? The window closes, permanently." Marcus gripped the doorframe. "She's been on the streets for 3 months. No medical care, no diagnosis. Which means we have approximately 3 months left, maybe less. What do we need to do the surgery? A legal guardian's consent, medical insurance or payment, and a qualified surgeon. 2 of those Marcus could provide immediately. The third was the problem. He had no legal standing, no right to make medical decisions for an abandoned child he'd met yesterday. Tom saw the realization. You need to contact child services, get emergency guardianship. That could take weeks, bureaucracy, red tape. Then you'd better start now. After Tom left, Marcus called Jonathan Hayes again. "I need emergency guardianship. 2 children, 1 orphaned, 1 abandoned. And I need it fast. We have a medical situation." Jonathan was quiet for a moment. "Marcus, this is complicated. Child services won't just hand over guardianship to a stranger, even a billionaire stranger. Then what do I do? Let me make some calls." The rest of the morning passed in a blur. Claire and Sophie played, their laughter filling the house. Ethan watched over them, never fully relaxing. Around noon, Marcus pulled the boy aside. "Ethan, I need to ask you something. About Sophie." The wariness returned instantly. "What about her?" Dr. Harrison examined her eyes. He found something. Panic flooded Ethan's face. "Is she sick?" "Not sick, but she has cataracts. Do you know what those are?" The boy nodded. "My mom taught blind students with cataracts." "Then you know they can sometimes be treated. With surgery." Hope and fear warred in Ethan's expression. "Sophie could see?" "Maybe, 60 to 70% vision, but only if we act soon. We have about 90 days. "Then do it. Do the surgery." Marcus took a breath. "It's not that simple. Sophie needs a legal guardian to consent." "I'm not her guardian. I met you yesterday." The hope crumbled. "So we can't help her." "I didn't say that. I'm working on getting temporary guardianship. But it takes time, and there's something else I need to know." Ethan waited. "Your mother, you said she knew Sophie's mother. Do you know how to find her?" "Sophie's mother?" The boy's face shuddered. "No." Marcus studied him, the micro-expression that said he was lying. "Ethan, if Sophie's mother is out there, she has legal rights. We need to at least try to find her." "She doesn't want Sophie." "How do you know?" "Because she left her, at a shelter, and never came back." The explosion of anger. Finally, some of the careful control cracking. Marcus kept his voice calm. "I understand, but legally we have to try, for Sophie's sake." Ethan's hands clenched into fists, fighting tears. "Her name is Amanda Reynolds," he said finally, bitter. "She used to bring Sophie to my mom's center for therapy, free therapy because she couldn't pay. Do you know where she lives?" "Lived in Southeast Portland, but she lost her apartment. That's why she left Sophie." Marcus made mental notes. Jonathan could find her. Ethan, I'm not trying to take Sophie away from you. I'm trying to help her. Do you believe me? The boy looked up, searching Marcus's face for deception. Finally, slowly, he nodded. I believe you. That afternoon, Marcus made a decision. Pack a bag, he told Ethan. We're going to Seattle tomorrow. Why? To see your mother's workplace, to talk to her colleagues, to get documentation that proves you're who you say you are, and to get evidence that would support guardianship. Ethan's face went pale. I haven't been back since the funeral. I know, but we need Dr. Marlowe's help and your mother's records. The boy swallowed hard. Okay. That evening, as Marcus tucked Claire into bed, she asked, Daddy, are Ethan and Sophie going to stay? I don't know yet, sweetheart. I hope they do. Sophie understands about not seeing, and Ethan is nice. Marcus kissed her forehead. Get some sleep. Daddy? Yes? I think Mommy would like them too. His throat closed. I think you're right. Later, Marcus found Ethan sitting in the library, looking at family photos on the mantel. Marcus, Caroline, Claire. Frozen moments of happiness. That's my wife, Marcus said quietly. Caroline, she died 2 years ago. Ethan nodded. She looked kind. She would have liked you and Sophie. The boy didn't answer. Marcus sat beside him. Tomorrow is going to be hard. Going back to where your mother worked. I know. But we'll do it together, okay? Ethan looked at him. Really looked. Mr. Sullivan? You can call me Marcus. My mom said to always use last names with adults. Marcus smiled sadly. Your mother taught you well. They sat in silence, the house settling around them. Outside, Portland sparkled under clearing skies. Tomorrow would bring answers, complications, truths. But tonight, 3 children slept safe, and Marcus Sullivan made a promise to himself. He would protect them, all of them, whatever it took. The flight to Seattle took 45 minutes. Marcus sat in the private jet's leather seat, watching Ethan stare out the window. The boy's reflection ghostly in the glass, small, fragile, trying so hard to be strong. They'd left at dawn, Sophie and Claire safe at the estate with Miss Peterson, Ellen Collins promising chocolate chip cookies when they returned. Sophie had cried when Ethan left. Quiet tears, her hands clutching his jacket. You'll come back? Ethan knelt, cupped her face. I promise, just one day. Then I'll be home. Home. The words slipped out unconsciously. Neither child noticed, but Marcus did. Now as the jet descended towards Seattle-Tacoma International, Ethan's breathing quickened. You okay? Marcus asked. The boy nodded, lying. It's all right to be scared. I'm not scared. Then you're braver than me. I'd be terrified. Ethan looked at him, surprised. You? Going back to a place full of memories, where your mother worked, laughed, lived? That takes courage. The boy's mask cracked, just slightly. I miss her. I know. Every day. I know that too. They landed. A rental car waited. Marcus drove through familiar Seattle streets. Rain misted the windshield. Always raining here. The Seattle Center for Visual Impairment Education occupied a modern building near the University District. Glass, steel. Bright colors meant for children who could perceive light and shadow. Ethan went rigid as they parked. Last time I was here, he whispered, was for her funeral. Marcus waited. They had the service in the conference room. Because Mom worked here 15 years. Everyone came. Students, parents, teachers. His voice broke. And then Aunt Veronica took me home, and 3 weeks later told me she couldn't keep me, that her boyfriend didn't want kids around. The casual cruelty, adults failing children. So I left before they could send me to foster care. Marcus turned off the engine. Your mother would be so proud of you. How do you know? Because you kept her promise, to help people who can't see. You found Sophie and you protected her, used everything your mother taught you. Ethan's shoulders shook, silent tears. Marcus didn't try to stop them, just sat, present. After a long moment, Ethan wiped his eyes. Okay, I'm ready. They walked to the entrance, through automatic doors, into a bright lobby filled with tactile art and textured walls. The receptionist looked up. Mrs. Davis, 60-something, gray hair and a neat bun. Her face went white. Ethan Bennett? Not a question, a gasp. The boy straightened. Hello, Mrs. Davis. She came around the desk, fast, knelt in front of him. We've been worried sick. After the funeral, when your aunt reported you missing, we called hospitals, shelters, police. I'm sorry I couldn't stay with Aunt Veronica. Oh, honey. Her eyes shimmered. No one's angry. We're just relieved you're safe. She looked at Marcus, assessing. This is Mr. Sullivan, Ethan said. He's helping me. Mrs. Davis stood, extended her hand. Marcus shook it. Dr. Marlowe needs to see you immediately, she said, already reaching for the phone. Minutes later, footsteps echoed down the hall. Dr. Cassandra Marlowe appeared, African-American, late 50s, elegant gray suit, eyes sharp with intelligence, and red from recent tears. She stopped, stared at Ethan. Then she ran, swept the boy into her arms, held him like he might disappear. Thomas James Bennett, you nearly gave me a heart attack. Ethan buried his face in her shoulder, the careful control shattering. He sobbed, great heaving gasps, the grief he'd been holding for months. Dr. Marlowe held him, rocked him, whispered words Marcus couldn't hear. Finally, the storm passed. Ethan pulled back, embarrassed. I'm sorry. Don't you dare apologize. She cupped his face. Let me look at you. Her professional assessment was quick, thorough. You've lost weight, but you look otherwise healthy. Where have you been? Ethan glanced at Marcus, uncertain. It's okay, Marcus said. Tell her. So the boy did, the whole story, from fleeing Aunt Veronica to finding Sophie at the shelter, 3 months on Portland streets, the diner. Marcus. Dr. Marlowe listened without interrupting, her face cycling through shock, horror, pride, and sadness. When Ethan finished, she turned to Marcus. And you are? Marcus Sullivan. I own Sullivan Technologies. I met Ethan 11 days ago. 11 days. She studied him. We need documentation, medical records, proof of his identity. I'm trying to get emergency guardianship for both children. Her eyebrows rose. Both? Ethan won't leave Sophie, and I won't separate them. Something shifted in her expression. Respect, maybe. Come to my office. They walked through halls Ethan knew by heart, past classrooms with specialized equipment, children's laughter floating through open doors. Dr. Marlowe's office was spacious, neat, photos covering one wall. Rachel Bennett featured prominently. Ethan gravitated to them, his mother, young, smiling, surrounded by students. She was remarkable, Dr. Marlowe said softly. The best educator I ever met. I know. She moved to a filing cabinet, pulled out a thick folder. Rachel's personal research. I've been holding it, hoping you'd come back. She handed it to Ethan. He opened it reverently. Inside, detailed notes, curriculum plans, and photographs. Sophie, at 3 years old, working with tactile blocks, Rachel guiding her hands. Ethan's breath caught. You have pictures of Sophie. Your mother worked with her for almost 2 years, free of charge, because Amanda couldn't afford therapy. Marcus leaned forward. Amanda Reynolds, Sophie's mother? Dr. Marlowe nodded. Young, struggling, overwhelmed by having a blind child, Rachel tried to help, taught Amanda how to support Sophie's development. But Amanda kept missing appointments, eventually stopped coming altogether. When did you last see her? About 7 months ago, right before Rachel got sick. Marcus pulled out his phone. Could you identify her from a photo, if we find her? Possibly. He made notes. Jonathan would need this. There's something else, Dr. Marlowe said. She turned to Ethan. You need to understand what your mother was doing. With you. The boy frowned. What do you mean? Your mother wasn't just teaching you to help blind people. She was conducting research. Cutting-edge peer-assisted education protocols. She pulled out another file. Academic papers. Charts. Data. You were her primary research subject. From the time you were 3 years old, she trained you systematically. Teaching methods, orientation techniques, psychological support strategies. Understanding dawned on Ethan's face. That's why she always had me help her students. Exactly. She was proving that sighted children, properly trained, could provide exceptional support for visually impaired peers. You weren't just helping, you were demonstrating a revolutionary educational model. Pride flickered across the boy's features, then guilt. She never got to finish, because she got sick. No, Dr. Marlowe said gently. She did finish. You're the proof. Everything you've done for Sophie proves her theories worked. She turned to Marcus. This child has training equivalent to adult paraprofessionals in the field. He's not just kind, he's skilled. Marcus had suspected, but hearing it confirmed was something else. Dr. Marlowe, I need your help. Official documentation, medical records for Ethan, anything about Sophie's time here, character references. I'm fighting for guardianship. She stood, decisive. You'll have everything by tomorrow. I'll email it tonight. There's one more thing. Yes? Rachel's personal effects. Is there anything Ethan should have? Dr. Marlowe's eyes softened. Come with me. She led them to a storage room. Unlocked a cabinet, inside, boxes, Rachel's name in neat script. We packed up her office. I couldn't bear to throw anything away. Ethan approached slowly, opened the top box. Books, teaching materials, personal items. Then he found it, a leather-bound journal. Mom's diary. His voice broke. Take it, Dr. Marlowe said. Take anything you want. Ethan pulled out a thick binder, her special curriculum, for kids under 8. Sophie needs this. Marcus helped him gather materials, the tangible remnants of a life dedicated to helping others. As they prepared to leave, Dr. Marlowe pulled Marcus aside. Mr. Sullivan, what you're doing, it's not like acquiring a company. 2 traumatized children, one with special needs. The system will fight you. I know. Do you? Courts prefer biological family, traditional arrangements. You're a single father, already raising a blind daughter. They'll question your capacity. Then I'll prove them wrong. She studied him. Why, really? You met these children 11 days ago. Marcus thought of Claire's laughter, Sophie's smile, Ethan's fierce protectiveness. Because they're family. They just don't know it yet. Dr. Marlowe nodded slowly. Rachel would have liked you. On the flight home, Ethan read his mother's journal. Marcus caught glimpses, neat handwriting, careful observations. Then Ethan stopped, his finger on a page. Mr. Sullivan, listen to this. He read aloud, his mother's words. Ethan has become Sophie's anchor in ways I never anticipated. My greatest fear isn't my diagnosis. It's what happens to them when I'm gone. If anyone reads this, please understand. These children belong together. Ethan doesn't just help Sophie navigate physical space, he helps her navigate the world. And she gives him purpose, connection, love. To separate them would destroy both. The cabin was silent except for engine noise. Your mother knew, Marcus said softly. She prepared for this. She asked me to promise, right before she died. Promise to always help people who can't see. And you kept that promise. Ethan closed the journal. She also said something else, that everyone deserves a second chance, even people who make mistakes. Marcus thought of Amanda, abandoning her blind daughter, second chances, redemption, forgiveness, maybe. They landed at sunset, Portland's skyline gilded with dying light. At the estate, Sophie ran to Ethan, launched herself into his arms. You came back. I promised. Claire hovered nearby. Did you bring the papers? Marcus smiled. Smart girl. Yes. Dr. Marlowe is sending everything tonight. That night, after the children slept, Jonathan Hayes arrived. They sat in Marcus's study, bourbon untouched on the desk. I've been making calls, Jonathan said. Child Protective Services, family court. It's complicated. How complicated? For Ethan, moderately. His aunt formally relinquished guardianship 2 months ago, told authorities she believed he'd gone to stay with family friends in Portland, which buys us some cover. And Sophie? Jonathan's face darkened. That's where it gets messy. I found Amanda Reynolds. Marcus sat forward. Where? Southeast Portland, low-income housing. She's employed, barely, waitressing at a chain restaurant. Does she know Sophie is here? No, but she will soon. We're legally obligated to notify her before pursuing guardianship. And if she wants Sophie back? Then we have a custody fight. Mother's rights are substantial, even if she abandoned her child. Marcus's jaw clenched. She left a blind 6-year-old at a shelter and disappeared for 3 months. I know, but she'll claim temporary crisis, depression, homelessness. She'll say she was looking for Sophie. That's a lie. Probably, but proving it is another matter. They sat in heavy silence. There's more, Jonathan said. I ran a deeper background. Amanda has a boyfriend, Kevin Moore, 38, 2 priors, fraud, financial manipulation. Warning bells clanged in Marcus's mind. What kind of fraud? Insurance scams mostly. I think he's coaching Amanda. There's a life insurance policy on Sophie. Small, $10,000. But if Amanda regains custody and something happened to Sophie, Marcus felt sick. You think he'd hurt a child for $10,000? I think desperate people do terrible things. And Kevin Moore is desperate. He's in debt, gambling debts. The kind people get hurt over. We need to protect Sophie. Agreed. But carefully. We can't just accuse them without proof. Marcus stood, paced. File for emergency guardianship tomorrow. Both children. Use Dr. Marlowe's documentation. Medical necessity for Sophie's surgery. It'll trigger notification to Amanda. I know, let her come. Let's see what she really wants. 1 week later, Diana Reynolds arrived. Not related to Amanda, just unfortunate name coincidence. Diana was a 23-year veteran of Child Protective Services, 48 years old, sharp eyes that missed nothing, professional poker face that revealed less. Marcus met her at the door, extended his hand. Mrs. Reynolds, thank you for coming. Mr. Sullivan, firm handshake, assessing gaze. Quite a home. Please, come in. She walked through the foyer, taking inventory, the adaptive equipment for Claire, the carefully arranged furniture allowing easy navigation, the braille labels, the textured pathways. You've made modifications for your daughter. Yes, Claire has been blind since birth. And now you're seeking to add 2 more children, one also blind. Not a question, a statement of fact. I'm seeking to protect 2 children who have no one else. Diana pulled out a tablet. Let's discuss the situation. Thomas Bennett, also called Ethan, 7 years old. Mother Rachel Bennett, deceased. Father unknown. Aunt Veronica Bennett, relinquished informal guardianship. Currently documented as a runaway. She looked up. Except he's not running anymore. He's here. By choice, he can leave whenever he wants. Can he? He's 7. You're a billionaire with security and resources. That's not exactly equal footing. Marcus kept his voice level. Ethan is free to go. I've made that clear. Diana made a note. And Sophie Reynolds, 6 years old, blind, mother Amanda Reynolds, father unknown, abandoned at St. Vincent's shelter 3 months ago. Left there and never returned, Marcus corrected. Miss Reynolds claims she was seeking housing assistance, that she intended to retrieve Sophie within days. In 3 months, she never called the shelter, never filed a missing person report, never contacted police. Diana's expression flickered. Agreement, maybe, but she stayed professional. The courts will determine credibility. My job is assessing the children's current situation. A crash from the kitchen. Then laughter. Diana raised an eyebrow. The children are baking, Marcus explained, with my housekeeper. May I see them? Of course. They walked to the kitchen. The scene was chaotic. Flour everywhere, Claire and Sophie giggling, Ethan carefully measuring ingredients. Ellen supervising with patient amusement. We're making cookies for Mrs. Reynolds, Claire announced, somehow sensing the newcomer. Ethan turned, saw Diana. His face shuddered instantly. Hello, he said, polite, wary. Hello, Ethan. I'm Diana Reynolds. I'm here to talk with everyone about your living situation. Sophie clutched Ethan's hand. Are you taking us away? No, sweetheart. I'm just making sure you're safe and happy. We are, Sophie said, firm. Ethan takes care of me. Diana smiled gently. I can see that. She spent the next hour interviewing each child separately. Marcus waited in the hallway, anxious. When she emerged, her poker face was intact. I'll file my report tomorrow. The court hearing is scheduled for next Thursday. And your recommendation? I don't discuss that before filing. But Mr. Sullivan, you should know. Mrs. Reynolds has also filed. She's requesting immediate return of Sophie. Marcus's blood ran cold. On what grounds? Maternal rights. She claims temporary crisis. Says she's now stable, employed, housing secured. It's been 4 days. That's remarkably fast recovery. Diana's eyes said she agreed. Her mouth stayed professional. The judge will decide. Bring all 3 children Thursday. 10 a.m. courtroom B. After she left, Marcus found Ethan in Sophie's room, the boy reading her a Braille storybook, his fingers tracing patterns he couldn't actually read but had memorized by position. Ethan, we need to talk. Sophie sensed the tension. Is something bad happening? Nothing bad, Sophie, but there might be a court hearing where a judge asks questions. Ethan's face went pale. Amanda. Marcus nodded. She's asking for Sophie back. No. Flat, absolute. Sophie stays with me. I'm fighting for that, but you need to understand, Amanda is Sophie's biological mother. The courts favor family. I'm Sophie's family. Ethan stood, shaking. I fed her when she was hungry, kept her warm when it was cold, protected her for 3 months. Where was Amanda? I know. She left Sophie crying in that shelter, alone, scared. For 3 days before I found her. Sophie was crying now. Quiet tears. Ethan knelt, held her. I won't let anyone take you, I promise. A promise a 7-year-old had no power to keep. Marcus's heart broke. That night, he couldn't sleep. Paced his study. Finally called Catherine at midnight. This is insane, she said. You've known these kids for 2 weeks. 11 days. 11 days. And you're willing to fight a biological mother in court? Yes. Why really, Robbie? Why? Marcus looked at the monitor showing the hallway. Ethan sleeping outside Sophie's door again, unwilling to leave her unprotected. Because that boy's raising his sister on his own. Because he's doing a better job than most adults. Because if we send Sophie back to a woman who abandoned her, we're telling Ethan his sacrifice meant nothing. Catherine was quiet, then softer. You love them. I barely know them. That's not what I asked. Marcus closed his eyes. Yes, I love them, all 3 of them. Claire is happier than she's been in 2 years. These kids understand each other in ways I can't. They're family. Then fight like hell. I intend to. Thursday arrived cold and gray. Marcus dressed carefully. Charcoal suit, blue tie, the armor of wealth and power. Downstairs, Ellen had dressed the children. Ethan in a small suit, too big in the shoulders. Claire and Sophie in matching blue dresses. They looked terrified. Remember, Marcus said in the car, tell the truth, be respectful, and know that I'm fighting for you. The courthouse loomed, stone, imposing, built to intimidate. Inside, Jonathan met them. Courtroom B, Judge Martinez presiding. She's fair, but tough. And Amanda? Jonathan nodded toward a woman sitting on a bench, blonde hair, 34 but looking older, worn clothes, nervous energy, and beside her a man, late 30s, expensive haircut, cheap suit, calculating eyes, Kevin Moore. Marcus felt instant dislike. As they approached, Amanda stood. Her eyes found Sophie. Baby, oh my baby. Sophie shrank behind Ethan. Amanda's face crumpled. Sophie, it's Mommy. Don't you remember? I remember. Sophie's voice was small. You left me. The words hung in the air. Simple, devastating. Amanda started crying. Kevin put his arm around her, whispered something. Then his eyes met Marcus's. Cold, assessing, a predator sizing up prey. The bailiff called them in. Courtroom B was smaller than Marcus expected. Wood paneling, the seal of Oregon above the bench. Judge Elaine Martinez entered. Late 50s, silver hair, stern face. Everyone rose. Be seated. Case number 2024-FC-18293. In the matter of guardianship for minors, Thomas Bennett and Sophie Reynolds. She reviewed papers, then looked up. This is highly irregular. Mr. Sullivan, you've known these children how long? Marcus stood. 11 days, Your Honor. And you're seeking emergency guardianship? Yes, Your Honor, based on medical necessity and child welfare concerns. Ms. Reynolds, you're contesting regarding Sophie Reynolds? Amanda stood, shaky. Yes, Your Honor. Sophie is my daughter. I love her. I made a mistake, but I want her back. Judge Martinez made notes. We'll hear from both parties. Mr. Hayes, present your case. Jonathan stood, laid out the facts. Sophie's abandonment, Ethan's care, the medical necessity of cataract surgery, Dr. Marlowe's documentation, then Amanda's lawyer, a public defender, clearly overworked. He presented Amanda's version, temporary homelessness, depression, desperate attempt to find housing before retrieving Sophie. The judge listened, expression neutral. I'd like to hear from the children, starting with Ethan. The boy walked forward, so small at the witness stand. Judge Martinez softened, slightly. Ethan, tell me how you came to be caring for Sophie. And he did, his voice steady, recounting those 3 months, finding Sophie, keeping her safe, teaching her, protecting her. Why didn't you contact authorities? Because they would separate us, put Sophie in an institution, put me in foster care. I couldn't let that happen. That's quite a burden for a 7-year-old. My mother taught me. She said people who can't see need someone who understands. I understand. And what about Sophie's mother? Did you know her? Ethan hesitated. Yes, Your Honor. How? She used to bring Sophie to my mom's center for therapy. My mom helped her for free. Judge Martinez leaned forward. When did you last see Ms. Reynolds before finding Sophie at the shelter? About 7 months ago, right before my mom got sick. And in those 7 months, did Ms. Reynolds continue Sophie's therapy? No, Your Honor. Amanda stood. I couldn't afford it. The gavel cracked. Ms. Reynolds, you'll have your turn. Ethan was dismissed, walked back to Marcus on shaking legs. Then Sophie was called. Marcus guided her forward, helped her find the chair. Judge Martinez's voice gentled further. Sophie, do you know who I am? A judge. You decide things. That's right. Can you tell me about living with Mr. Sullivan? Sophie's face brightened. It's wonderful. I have my own room, and Claire is my best friend. She can't see either, so she understands. And Ethan reads to me every night, Bob. And Mr. Sullivan says I might get surgery so I can see. And before, at the shelter? Sophie's smile faded. It was scary. No one knew how to help me. I couldn't find the bathroom or food. People got mad when I bumped into things. How long were you there? 3 days. Mama said she'd come back, but she didn't. Then Ethan found me. Do you want to go back to your mother? Sophie's hands twisted. I don't know. I love Mama, but I love Ethan more. He never left me. The courtroom was silent. Amanda was crying, genuine tears. Kevin whispered something. She shook her head. Then Sophie said something that changed everything. Ethan is my brother. Judge Martinez stopped writing. What? Ethan is my brother. We have the same daddy. That's what Ethan told me. The room exploded. Marcus's head snapped to Ethan. The boy's face had gone white. Judge Martinez slammed the gavel. Order, Ethan, approach the bench, now. The boy walked forward, terrified. Did you tell Sophie you're her brother? Yes, ma'am. On what basis? Ethan took a shaking breath. Because it's true, my mom told me. Before she died, she said Sophie's dad and my dad were the same person. That's why she helped Sophie, why she tried to get Amanda to let her adopt Sophie officially. Amanda was on her feet. That's impossible. But her face said otherwise. Said it might be true. Judge Martinez's eyes narrowed. This is the first I'm hearing of this. Mr. Hayes, did you know? Jonathan stood. No, Your Honor. This is news to us as well. Then we need DNA testing, immediately, to establish biological relationship. She turned to Amanda. Ms. Reynolds, who is Sophie's father? Amanda looked trapped. His name was David Mitchell. We were together for 2 years. When Sophie was born blind, he left. Do you know where he is now? No, he disappeared. Judge Martinez made extensive notes, then looked at Ethan. Son, if you knew Sophie was your sister, why didn't you tell Mr. Sullivan? Or the authorities? Ethan's voice was small. Because it was our secret. Mom said we had to protect Sophie, that her other mom was the bad person who didn't know how to love a blind child. The words hit Amanda like a physical blow. She collapsed into her seat. Kevin tried to comfort her, but she pushed him away. Judge Martinez sat back. This changes things considerably. I'm ordering DNA testing for both children, and I'm launching an investigation into David Mitchell. She looked at Marcus. Mr. Sullivan, pending test results, I'm granting temporary emergency guardianship. Both children remain with you. Relief flooded through Marcus. However, the judge continued, Ms. Reynolds retains visitation rights, supervised, twice weekly. Amanda looked up, hope and pain warring on her face. Thank you, Your Honor. As they left the courtroom, Kevin Moore caught Marcus's arm. Enjoy your victory, Mr. Sullivan. It won't last. Marcus pulled free. Don't touch me. Amanda's not giving up. Neither am I. What's your interest in this? Kevin smiled. Cold eye. Amanda's my girlfriend. I support her. You mean you see a payday? I know about your record, Moore. The smile vanished. Careful, old man. You don't know what you're dealing with. Jonathan stepped between them. Walk away, Moore. Kevin did, but his parting look promised trouble. In the car, Ethan was shaking. I'm sorry, I should have told you about being Sophie's brother. Why didn't you? Because I was scared. Scared you'd send us away if things got too complicated. Marcus pulled the boy into a hug. I'm not sending you anywhere. We're family now, complicated or not. That night, Marcus increased security, guards at the gates, cameras on every entrance. Something about Kevin Moore set off every alarm. 2 weeks passed, DNA results came back. Confirmed, Ethan and Sophie shared a biological father. David Mitchell, currently living in Vancouver under the name David Harris. Remarried, 2 other children. When contacted, he refused involvement. Wanted nothing to do with his abandoned children. The revelation complicated everything and simplified nothing. Amanda's supervised visitations began. She came twice a week. Brought gifts Sophie didn't want. Tried to connect with a daughter who barely remembered her. It was heartbreaking to watch. But Kevin always came with her, lurking, watching, calculating. Marcus didn't trust him, neither did Jonathan, who hired private investigators, digging into Kevin's life. What they found was disturbing: gambling debts, $60,000 owed to dangerous people, a pattern of targeting vulnerable women, and a life insurance policy on Sophie that Amanda had signed, with Kevin as beneficiary if Amanda died. The pieces formed a terrifying picture. 3 weeks after the hearing, it happened. 2 a.m. security alarm shrieked. Marcus bolted awake, grabbed his phone. Jackson's voice. Urgent. Sir, we have a breach. East Gate. Someone cut the fence. Marcus ran down the hall to the children's rooms. Claire safe, sleeping. Ethan's room, empty. Sophie's room, empty. His blood turned to ice. Then he heard it. Ethan's voice, screaming. Help! Someone help! Marcus ran toward the sound, found Ethan in the hallway, wrestling with a figure in black. Kevin Moore holding Sophie, the little girl crying, terrified. Marcus didn't think, just acted. Tackled Kevin, all 200 pounds of billionaire fury. They crashed to the floor. Sophie rolled free. Ethan grabbed her, pulled her to safety. Kevin fought dirty, elbow to Marcus's ribs, knee to his stomach. But Marcus was fighting for his children. He landed a solid punch. Kevin's nose crunched. Security arrived, pulled them apart. Kevin was arrested, charged with attempted kidnapping, breaking and entering, assault. Police found evidence. Text messages between Kevin and known criminals. Plans to ransom Sophie. Use her to pressure Marcus or Amanda for money. Amanda was brought in for questioning. She broke down, confessed she'd known Kevin was planning something. He'd told her it was just to scare Marcus into settling, giving Amanda full custody and a cash payment. She hadn't known about the kidnapping plan, or so she claimed. That night, with police gone and children finally asleep, Marcus sat in his study. His ribs ached, his knuckles bleeding. But his children were safe. Jonathan appeared. Kevin's being held without bail. Amanda's being investigated as an accomplice. What happens to Sophie now? With Amanda potentially facing charges? Your guardianship just got a lot stronger. Marcus should have felt victorious. Instead, he just felt tired and grateful. His phone buzzed. Catherine, I saw the news. Are you okay? We're safe. Robbie, what you did tonight, fighting off an intruder, that's not exactly billionaire behavior. He smiled despite everything. Turns out I'm a father first, billionaire second. Mom and Dad would be proud. After hanging up, Marcus walked upstairs, checked on Claire, still sleeping, peaceful. Then Sophie and Ethan's rooms, both empty. He found them in Sophie's bed, curled together, Ethan's arms around his sister, protecting even in sleep. Marcus stood in the doorway, watching. Two children who'd lost everything, found each other, survived against impossible odds, and now, finally, were safe. He pulled out his phone, took a picture, sent it to Catherine. Her reply came seconds later. That's family. Yes, Marcus thought, it is. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, court hearings, investigations, Amanda's fate. But tonight his children slept safe, and that was enough. 4 months passed like water through fingers. October turned to November, November to December. The holidays came and went. New Year arrived with champagne for adults and sparkling cider for children. Through it all, life at Sullivan Estate found its rhythm. Claire and Sophie inseparable. Two blind girls navigating their world together, teaching each other, learning from each other. Ethan slowly releasing his hypervigilance, still protective, always watching, but beginning to be a child again, and Marcus learning what it meant to be a father to 3. The days were chaos, Braille lessons, mobility training, therapy sessions, school enrollment battles, insurance paperwork mountains. The nights were quiet, stories read aloud, whispered conversations, Sophie's nightmares soothed, Ethan's grief acknowledged. Kevin Moore was awaiting trial, 15 charges. His bail hearing had been brutal. Prosecutors presented evidence of the kidnapping plot, text messages, financial records, a detailed plan to ransom Sophie for $200,000. He wouldn't see freedom for years. Amanda was another story. She'd been charged as an accomplice. But evidence was thin. She claimed ignorance, said Kevin manipulated her, used her love for Sophie as leverage. Maybe it was true, maybe not. Her lawyer negotiated a plea: probation, mandatory counseling, supervised visitation with Sophie contingent on completion. Through it all, she kept coming to visits. Twice a week, Wednesday afternoons and Saturday mornings, always supervised by Diana Reynolds, always trying to connect with a daughter who barely remembered her. The first month, Amanda brought toys, stuffed animals, dolls. Sophie accepted them politely, set them aside, never played with them. The second month, Amanda noticed Sophie reading Braille with Claire. The next visit, she brought a Braille book. "I've been learning," she said quietly. Her fingers traced the dots, clumsy, unpracticed, but trying. Sophie's hands covered hers. "You're doing it wrong, here." For 20 minutes, Sophie taught her mother the alphabet. Ethan watched from the doorway, wary, protective. But something shifted that day. By the third month, Amanda stopped bringing gifts, started asking questions instead. "What's your favorite subject at school? Do you like piano lessons? Tell me about Claire." Small conversations, careful, like two strangers learning each other. Diana Reynolds noticed, made notes, saw something changing. It was the fourth visit, late January, when Amanda arrived looking different. Hair cut, clean, eyes clear, no tremor in her hands. "I've been sober 60 days, she told Diana, before the visit started. "I wanted you to know." Diana's expression softened, just slightly. "That's good work, Amanda. I'm not trying to get her back. I know I can't. I just want her to know I'm trying, to be someone she's not ashamed to know." The turning point came in late January, a Saturday morning visit. Amanda and Sophie in the music room. Diana supervising from the hallway. Marcus passed by, heard Amanda's voice. Not talking, singing, a lullaby. Soft, slightly off-key. "Hush, little baby. Don't say a word." Sophie joined in, her small voice harmonizing. "Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird." Marcus stopped, listened. When the song ended, Sophie spoke. "You used to sing that to me when I was little. I remember." Amanda's voice broke. "You do? Before you got shitky, before everything got hard, I remember you singing." A long pause. "I'm sorry I stopped singing, baby. Maybe you could start again." "I'd like that." Marcus walked away quietly, left them to their moment. Found Diana in the hallway. She'd heard too. "She's really trying," Diana said, professional mask slipping. "I've seen a lot of cases. Most parents in her situation just give up. Fight the system. Get angry. But not Amanda? Amanda's doing the work. Therapy, AA meetings. She got a better job. Enrolled in parenting classes for special needs children." Diana shook her head. She knows she can't have Sophie back, but she's becoming someone Sophie might want to know. That takes courage. It takes love. It was February when things shifted. A Wednesday afternoon, cold rain against windows. Amanda arrived early. Sophie was in the music room with Claire, learning piano by touch and sound. Their laughter floating through the house. Amanda stood in the foyer, dripping, clutching a bag. "I brought something," and she told Diana. "For Sophie. Can I see her?" Diana nodded. "She's with Claire. I'll get her." But Amanda stopped her. "Wait, first I need to say something. To Mr. Sullivan." Marcus emerged from his study, wary. He'd kept distance from Amanda. Necessary, legal, safe. She looked different today. Thinner, dark circles under her eyes, but something else. Clarity, maybe. "Mr. Sullivan, can we talk? Just 5 minutes?" He glanced at Diana. She nodded, stayed close but gave space. They sat in the library. Amanda perched on the edge of a chair. Marcus standing, still not trusting. "I've been going to therapy," she said, voice quiet. "Court mandated, but also because I needed it." Marcus waited. "My therapist asked me to write down everything, from when Sophie was born to when I left her at the shelter. 12 pages. Her hands shook, reading it back, seeing it written out, what I did, how I failed her. Tears started. She didn't wipe them away. "I was 22 when I got pregnant. David and I weren't married, barely knew each other. When Sophie was born and the doctors said she was blind, he left that day, packed his bags and disappeared." Marcus had heard versions of this, but not from her, not with this raw honesty. "I tried. God, I tried. But I didn't know how to raise a blind baby." Every milestone was harder. Walking, talking, eating. Everything took longer, required more patience, more skill. She looked up, met Marcus's eyes. I loved her. I did. But I was drowning. Working 2 jobs, no family help, no money for therapy. Then Dr. Bennett appeared. Rachel, like an angel. Her voice broke on the name. Rachel taught me everything. How to help Sophie explore. How to encourage independence. She gave Sophie therapy for free. Hours and hours, never asked for payment. And when Rachel got sick, Marcus asked, I panicked. Sophie's lifeline was dying. I was losing the one person who understood. Who could help? Amanda wiped her eyes. After Rachel died, I fell apart. Lost my lost my apartment. Spiraled into depression so deep I couldn't see out. So you left Sophie. So I abandoned my daughter. Unflinching now. Owning it. I told myself it was temporary, that I'd get stable and come back. But days became weeks. Weeks became months. And the longer I waited, the harder it became to face what I'd done. Silence stretched between them. Why are you telling me this? Amanda pulled out the bag. Inside, a worn folder. These are Sophie's medical records, from birth, her diagnosis, early intervention appointments, everything I should have given you months ago. She set it on the table, then pulled out something else, a legal document. I'm terminating my parental rights. The world tilted. What? I'm signing Sophie over, permanently, to you. Marcus couldn't process it. Wyman, Amanda stood, walked to the window, watched rain streak the glass. Because my therapist asked me a question. What does Sophie need? Not what do I need? Not what would make me feel better about my guilt. What does Sophie actually need? She turned, face wet with tears. And the answer killed me. Sophie needs stability, safety, a father who fights for her, siblings who love her, resources I can't provide, a future I can't give her. You're her mother. Biology doesn't make you a parent. Love does. Action does. Being there does. She laughed bitterly. I gave birth to her, but I've never been her mother. Not really. Rachel was more of a mother in 2 years than I was in 6. Marcus felt something crack in his chest. This broken woman, doing the hardest thing possible. If you do this, he said carefully, there's no going back. You'd have no legal rights, no visitation, no contact unless Sophie chooses. I know. You'd be giving up your daughter. I'm giving my daughter a life. Amanda met his eyes. I'm giving her what she deserves, what I can't provide. I'm loving her enough to let her go. The simplicity of it, the sacrifice. Marcus thought of his own grief, losing Caroline, the hole that never filled. Does Sophie know you're doing this? Not yet. I wanted to ask you first, if you'd take her. Officially. Permanently. I already filed for permanent guardianship. This is different. Adoption. She'd be yours. Legally, completely. Sophie Sullivan. The name hung in the air. Sophie Sullivan. His daughter. Yes, Marcus heard himself say. Yes, I'll adopt her. Amanda nodded, tears flowing freely now. Can I tell her? Can I explain? Are you sure it might be easier to just sign the papers and leave? Easier for me, not for her. She deserves to hear it from me, to know I chose this, that I'm not abandoning her again, that I'm setting her free. Marcus called for Sophie. The little girl came cautiously, Ethan shadowing her. Protective as always. Sophie, Amanda knelt down. Baby, I need to talk to you. Sophie's unseeing eyes turned toward her mother's voice. Are you taking me away? No, sweetheart. The opposite. Confusion flickered across Sophie's face. Amanda took her daughter's hands. Do you remember when we used to read stories? About princesses and castles? Sophie nodded. In those stories, sometimes the princess had to go live in a castle far away, to be safe, to have a better life, remember? Yes. That's what's happening now. You found your castle, with Mr. Sullivan and Claire and Ethan. This is where you belong. But what about you? Amanda's voice broke. I'm going to let you stay here, forever. Mr. Sullivan is going to adopt you, be your real daddy, and I'm going to step back. You're leaving me again? No, baby, I'm not leaving. I'm giving you permission to be happy here, to have the family you deserve, without worrying about me. Sophie was crying now. I don't understand. Ethan stepped forward, put his hand on Sophie's shoulder. Amanda looked at him. This remarkable boy who'd done what she couldn't. You love her, don't you? Amanda asked him. She's my sister. And you'll protect her? Always? Always. Amanda nodded, stood, looked at Marcus. Take care of my daughter. Give her everything I couldn't. I promise. She kissed Sophie's forehead. One last time, then walked to the door, paused, looked back. Sophie, I love you. I've always loved you. I just didn't know how to show it. But Mr. Sullivan does, so let him. Okay? Sophie nodded, small, confused, heartbroken. Amanda left. Marcus knelt beside Sophie, held her as she cried. Ethan stood guard, silent, processing. Later, after Sophie fell asleep exhausted, Ethan found Marcus in the study. Is it real? Is Sophie staying? Yes, Amanda signed the papers. Sophie's staying, permanently. Relief flooded the boy's face. Then something else. Uncertainty. What about me? Marcus looked at this child, this extraordinary 7-year-old who'd carried impossible burdens. I'm adopting you too, if you'll let me. Ethan's eyes went wide. Both of us. Both of you. And Claire makes 3. A package deal. The boy was shaking. You want to be my dad? I want to be your father, if you'll have me. Ethan launched himself forward, into Marcus's arms, sobbing. Years of loss, months of fear, weeks of uncertainty, all releasing. Marcus held him, this brave boy, his son. I've got you, he whispered. I've got you both. The final court hearing was scheduled for March 15th, a formality now, with Amanda's voluntary termination. With DNA evidence proving Ethan and Sophie were siblings, with Dr. Marlowe's documentation, with Diana Reynolds' glowing report. Still, Marcus was nervous. Courts were unpredictable. Judges had final say. They dressed carefully. Ethan in a proper suit that actually fit this time. Sophie in a blue dress Claire helped pick. Claire herself in matching blue. A united front. At the courthouse, Jonathan met them. Confident. Prepared. This should be straightforward. Amanda's termination is ironclad. Your home studies are perfect. The children are thriving. Then why do I feel like I'm going to throw up? Jonathan smiled. Because you're a father. This is what we do. Worry. Courtroom B looked different in March. Spring light through high windows. Less oppressive. Judge Martinez entered. They rose. Be seated. Case number 2024-FC-18293. Final hearing for permanent guardianship and adoption. Thomas Bennett and Sophie Reynolds. She reviewed papers. A long silence. Then she looked up, directly at Marcus. Mr. Sullivan, when you first appeared before me 5 months ago, I had doubts. A billionaire taking in 2 homeless children, one with special needs. It seemed impulsive, possibly misguided. Marcus's stomach dropped. However, Judge Martinez's stern face softened, slightly. The reports I've received from child services, from medical professionals, from educators, all paint a remarkable picture. She held up documents. Ethan's school reports, straight A's, perfect attendance. According to his teachers, he's thriving academically and socially. Sophie's medical records, regular checkups, vision therapy ongoing, preparation for cataract surgery scheduled for next month. And Claire, your biological daughter, her mobility instructor reports significant improvement, increased confidence, attributed to her friendships with Sophie and Ethan. Judge Martinez set down the papers. Mr. Sullivan, you've created something rare, a home where these children don't just survive, they flourish. Relief began to seep in. However, I need to hear from the children themselves. Ethan, please approach. The boy walked forward, steadier than last time, chin up. Ethan, do you understand what adoption means? Yes, Your Honor. It means Mr. Sullivan becomes my legal father. Forever. And is that what you want? More than anything. Why? Ethan thought carefully. Because he keeps his promises. He said he'd protect Sophie and me. And he did. He fought Kevin Moore. He stood up to courts and lawyers. He could have sent us away when things got complicated. But he didn't. He chose us. His voice strengthened. My mom used to say family isn't who you're born to. It's who stays. Mr. Sullivan stayed. Judge Martinez nodded. Thank you, Ethan. Sophie, your turn. Sophie navigated to the stand, her mobility training evident, confident steps, hand trailing the rail. Sophie, you're very young. Do you understand what's happening? Yes, Mr. Sullivan wants to be my daddy, and Miss Amanda said it's okay. How do you feel about that? Sophie's face lit up. Happy. Mr. Sullivan is kind. He reads to me. He's getting my eyes fixed so I can see. And Ethan will be my brother for real. Not just secret brother, real brother. You and Ethan are very close. He's my best friend. He takes care of me, teaches me things, helps me be brave. And if I said you couldn't stay with Ethan? That you had to go somewhere else? Sophie's face crumpled. Please don't, please. Ethan needs me. I need him. We belong together. Judge Martinez's expression gentled. Don't worry, sweetheart. I'm not separating you. She dismissed Sophie, called Claire. Miss Sullivan, how do you feel about having Ethan and Sophie join your family? Claire smiled, radiant. It's wonderful. Sophie understands what it's like to be blind. We help each other, and Ethan is the best big brother. He protects us, teaches us, makes us laugh. You don't feel like they're taking your father's attention? No, Daddy has enough love for all of us. Mommy would want this. She always said our house was too big for just two people. Now it's full, the way it should be. Out of the mouths of babes, Judge Martinez made notes, then looked at Marcus. Mr. Sullivan, stand please. He stood, heart pounding. Adoption is permanent, irrevocable. These children will be your legal responsibility until adulthood. Their medical decisions, educational choices, financial support, everything falls to you. I understand, Your Honor. You're 52 years old. By the time these children reach 18, you'll be in your 60s. Are you prepared for that commitment? More prepared than I've ever been for anything. Why? You could have written a check, donated to charities, helped from a distance. Why bring them into your home, your life? Marcus thought of Caroline, of the empty years after her death, of Claire's loneliness. Because I was dying inside. Success without family is just expensive loneliness. These children gave me purpose again. They gave Claire siblings. They made our house a home. He looked at the three children, his children. I don't need them. They don't complete me or fix my grief, but I choose them every day. That's what family is. Not need, a choice. Judge Martinez sat back. A long moment of consideration. Then she lifted her gavel. It is the finding of this court that permanent adoption is in the best interests of both minors. Thomas Ethan Bennett and Sophie Marie Reynolds are hereby adopted by Marcus James Sullivan. The gavel fell. Effective immediately, their legal names are Ethan James Sullivan and Sophie Marie Sullivan. Congratulations. You're a family. The courtroom erupted. Ethan and Sophie ran to Marcus. He caught them, held them tight. Claire was crying. Happy tears. Ellen Collins was crying. Dr. Marlowe, who'd flown down for the hearing, was crying. Jonathan shook Marcus's hand. Welcome to fatherhood ×3. Outside the courthouse, photographers waited. News of the billionaire adopting homeless children had leaked. Marcus didn't care. Let them photograph. He had his family. Sophie's surgery was scheduled for April 10th. 2 months of preparation, consultations with specialists, preoperative testing. Ethan studying surgical procedures with obsessive focus. The night before, Marcus found Ethan in Sophie's room. You should sleep, Marcus said gently. What if something goes wrong? The surgeon is the best in the country. Dr. Chen has done this procedure hundreds of times. But what if Sophie's the one it doesn't work for? Marcus sat beside him. Then we deal with it, together. Sophie will still be Sophie, still your sister, still loved. But she could see colors and faces and everything. Maybe 60 to 70% chance. But even if it fails, we're not giving up. There are other options, other treatments. Ethan nodded, not convinced, too worried to be logical. Marcus understood. He was terrified too. Surgery day arrived cold and clear. They arrived at Oregon Health Sciences University Hospital at 6 a.m. Sophie was brave, wearing her hospital gown, clutching Ethan's hand. You'll be here when I wake up, she asked for the 10th time. Right here, I promise. The anesthesiologist came, kind eyes, gentle voice, explaining how Sophie would fall asleep and wake up after. Then it was time. Ethan walked with her to the surgical suite doors, kissed her forehead. See you soon, Sophie. She smiled, trusting. See you soon. They watched her disappear behind double doors. The waiting began. 4 hours, Dr. Chen had said. Maybe 5. Marcus, Ethan, and Claire sat in the surgical waiting room. Minutes crawling like hours. Ethan couldn't sit still. Paced. Checked his phone. Paced more. Claire held Marcus's hand, silent. Praying, perhaps. At hour 3, Dr. Chen appeared. They all stood. The surgery went perfectly, she said, smiling. Both eyes. Cataracts removed. Lens replacements successful. Sophie's in recovery. Relief hit like a physical force. Will she see? Ethan asked. Desperate. We won't know for 2 weeks. The bandages stay on. Eyes need to heal. Then we'll do the unveiling. 2 more weeks of waiting. The hardest 2 weeks of Ethan's life. Sophie came home 3 days later. Bandages covering her eyes, disoriented. Dared. Ethan barely left her side. Marcus found him one night, sitting by Sophie's bed. Dark circles under his eyes. A notebook in his lap. What's that? Marcus asked. Ethan showed him. Lists, dozens of them. Things Sophie should see first. I've been thinking about it. The order matters. Marcus sat beside him, read the careful handwriting. 1, Ethan's face. 2, Dad's face. 3, Claire's face. 4, the garden, flowers. 5, her own face. Mirror. 6, books with pictures. 7, the ocean. 8, stars. You've thought this through. What if it doesn't work? Ethan's voice cracked. What if she wakes up and still can't see? Then we try again and again until we find something that works. But what if there's nothing? What if this was her only chance and it fails? Marcus pulled the boy close. Then Sophie is still Sophie. Still your sister, still loved, still part of this family. Vision doesn't define her worth. Ethan nodded, but his hands shook as he closed the notebook. Dad? The word still caught Marcus off guard, made his chest tight. Yeah? I'm scared. Me too, son, me too. They sat in the quiet, Sophie's breathing steady beside them. But we're scared together, Marcus said. That's what family does. The days crawled, Ethan hovered, made lists, rearranged them, worried himself thin. Claire tried to help. Even if she can't see, we'll still be best friends. I know, but she deserves to see. She deserves everything. Finally, April 24th, bandage removal day. They gathered in Dr. Chen's office. Sophie in the examination chair. Ethan holding her left hand, Marcus her right. Ready, Sophie? Dr. Chen asked. The little girl nodded, trembling. Slowly, carefully, Dr. Chen removed the bandages, layers of gauze, then padding, then the final dressing. Sophie's eyes were closed. Okay, sweetheart, slowly. Open your eyes. Sophie's eyelids fluttered, then opened. Her pupils contracted, adjusting to light for the first time. She blinked, once, twice, looked around the room. Her mouth fell open. I can see, she whispered. I can see. Tears started, from everyone. Sophie turned, looked at Ethan, really looked at him, saw his face for the first time. Ethan, you're beautiful. The boy laughed through tears. You can see me. I can see you. She turned to Marcus, studied his face. Daddy, you look just like you sound, strong. Then Claire. Claire, your hair is so pretty. The girls hugged, both crying, both laughing. Dr. Chen wiped her own eyes. Vision is good, about 65% normal. With glasses, probably 80%. Better than we hoped. Sophie looked around the room, drinking in colors, shapes, light. The world is so bright, she said, wonder in her voice. So beautiful. That night, Sophie couldn't sleep, too excited. She walked through the house, touching things and seeing them simultaneously. The couch is red. The walls are white. The flowers are purple. Every discovery a miracle. Ethan followed her, protective still, but joyful. Marcus watched his children, all three, healthy, happy, home. Caroline would have loved this, he thought, would have loved them. Maybe she did, from wherever she was. 1 year later, October again. Marcus stood in the backyard of Sullivan Estate, the lawn transformed, tables, decorations, balloons, a birthday party, Claire and Sophie's joint celebration, both turning 7, born 3 weeks apart, insisting on celebrating together. Guests filled the space. Dr. Marlowe from Seattle, Jonathan Hayes and his family, Diana Reynolds with her husband, Ellen Collins and her grandchildren, Miss Peterson, school friends, teachers, even Amanda came. Sober 1 year, working steady, attending AA, visiting Sophie once a month. No longer a mother, something else. Friend maybe. Witness to her daughter's happiness. The girls ran past, Sophie's glasses catching sunlight, Claire's white cane temporarily abandoned as Sophie guided her. Careful, Ethan called. Nearly 8, taller and stronger than that frightened boy from the diner. Marcus smiled. His son, his daughters, his family. Catherine appeared beside him, Flew in from New York just for this. Look at you, she said. Domestic bliss. Never thought I'd see it. Neither did I. Any regrets? Marcus watched Ethan help Sophie cut cake, Claire laughing as frosting got everywhere. Not one. Mom and Dad would be proud. What you've built here. What we've built. All of us. Later, as the sun set golden over Portland, Marcus gathered the children. Before we cut the cake, I want to say something. Everyone quieted. 1 year ago today, my life changed. I walked into a diner for pie, left with 2 children who needed help. He looked at Ethan and Sophie. I thought I was rescuing you, but you rescued me. From loneliness, from grief, from a life that was all work and no heart. Claire took his hand, Ethan the other. Sophie held Ethan's, a chain of connection. Family isn't about blood. It's about choice, about staying when things get hard, about loving unconditionally, about protecting fiercely. His voice thickened. You 3 taught me that. So thank you for choosing me back, for making this house a home, for being exactly who you are. Sophie stepped forward, looked directly at him with eyes that could finally see. Daddy, can I say something? Of course, sweetheart. She turned to the guests, clear, confident. 1 year ago, I was alone, scared, couldn't see, didn't know if anyone would ever love me. She looked at Ethan. Then my brother found me, kept me safe, taught me I was worth protecting. Then Marcus. And you gave us a home, a family, a future. Her smile was radiant. You didn't find us by accident. We found each other because we were supposed to. We're meant to be together. She took Marcus's hand, Ethan's hand. We're the Sullivan family. Forever. Applause erupted. Marcus knelt, hugged all 3 children. His family, chosen, fought for, loved beyond measure. That night, after guests left and children were bathed and storied and tucked in, Marcus sat in his study. The house quiet, peaceful. On his desk, a framed photo. From today, all 4 of them, laughing, together. Beside it, an older photo. Caroline, smiling, beautiful, gone but not forgotten. Marcus touched her picture gently. We're okay, Car, he whispered. The kids are okay. I'm okay. He thought about that rainy October day, the diner, the cake, the warning that changed everything. 3 words from a frightened boy. Don't eat the cake. 3 words that saved Claire's life, and saved his too. Marcus turned off the light, walked upstairs, checked on Claire, sleeping peacefully. Her room adapted perfectly for her blindness, but filled with color too, because Sophie helped decorate. Sophie's room, the little girl sprawled across her bed, glasses on the nightstand, books everywhere. She was devouring stories, making up for 6 years of not seeing words. Finally, Ethan's room. The boy was at his desk, reading by lamplight. Hey, Marcus said softly. Shouldn't you be asleep? Ethan looked up. Couldn't sleep. Too much cake. Marcus smiled, sat on the bed. Good party? The best. They sat in comfortable silence. Then Ethan spoke. Quiet, serious. Do you ever think about that day at the diner? Every day. Me too. I almost didn't say anything. About the walnuts. Almost let it go. Why didn't you? My mom's voice, in my head, saying safety comes before being scared. Marcus nodded. Your mother was very wise. She would have liked you, and Claire and Sophie. I think I would have liked her too. Ethan set down his book. Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you think we were supposed to meet? Like destiny or something? Marcus considered. I don't know if I believe in destiny, but I believe in choice and grace and second chances. He ruffled Ethan's hair. We found each other when we needed each other most. Maybe that's destiny. Maybe it's luck. Maybe it doesn't matter what we call it. What matters is we're here now. Exactly. Ethan yawned, finally tired. Get some sleep, son. Okay. Night, Dad. Dad, not Mr. Sullivan, not Sir D. Marcus's heart swelled. Good night, Ethan. He turned off the lamp, walked to the door, paused, looked back, his son, 8 years old, brave beyond measure, finally safe, finally home. Marcus walked to his own room, lay down in the darkness. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Ethan's first soccer game, Sophie's vision checkup, Claire's Braille exam. The beautiful chaos of raising 3 children. But tonight, peace, his phone buzzed. A text from Catherine. That's what redemption looks like. Proud of you, big brother. Marcus smiled, typed back. Not redemption, just love. He set the phone down, closed his eyes. In the darkness, he heard it. The house breathing, alive with the presence of his children. Footsteps padding to the bathroom, water running, soft giggles from the girls' rooms, the creak of Ethan's bed as he finally settled, the sounds of home, of family, of everything that mattered. 1 year ago, Marcus Sullivan was a lonely billionaire, successful, empty, going through motions. Today he was a father to three extraordinary children who taught him what wealth really meant. Not money, not power, not success, but love, connection, being there, keeping promises, making a home, choosing family, every single day. Marcus drifted to sleep, content, complete. In the morning there would be breakfast chaos, spilled juice, forgotten homework, the beautiful mess of life with children. But for now, in the quiet dark, Marcus Sullivan counted his blessings. 3 children, healthy, happy. His, a house filled with laughter, a second chance he never expected, and the knowledge that sometimes the smallest moments change everything. 3 words from a frightened boy. Don't eat the cake. 3 words that became a family. The end. Or perhaps, the beginning.